It's definitely part of it. We did a lap. Was it Wednesday morning or Tuesday morning through the whole roster? So and then that's a constant conversation with Jerry and Will and Steven. I had a chance to sit down with Jerry on Thursday afternoon. So yeah, that's a consistent, constant conversation. Clearly, realize and then focus on we need to improve. We are about self improvement. We understand who we playing, where we're playing. That is secondary to what we're about. We're about self improvement. We need to pick up our game. We need to do things that we can control first until we worry about all these other things that are out there. Because none of these other things are going to help us win. If anything, it's going to take energy away from what we should be focused on. So if it's not about winning, it's not about self-improvement. Really don't have any time or energy for it. But I do appreciate you giving me an opportunity to talk about all this nonsense here. So it's awesome.
What's going on, Cowboys faithful? It's your boy DMV back with another one. Back with notes on Mike McCarthy's press conference today. I was going to say interview, but Mike McCarthy's press conference, and I got a lot of notes that I want to react to. Right. So I got, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got 10 talking points. So that's actually perfect. The first one is Mike McCarthy confirms that throughout the bye week, him and his staff use self scout and analytics to attack the areas of weakness, right? So they use the across the hall method, and what the across the hall method is when the defense looks at the offense, looks at the tendencies and ways that they would attack it, and things of that nature, and the opposite, vice versa, right? So you try and figure out what areas you can improve on, right? So that's what was done this week. And so I think they have a plan of attack, and the goal today is for them to go over those findings amongst the team and then apply them when they're moving forward in their game plan meetings, their offensive defensive meetings, to go over what we're going to do for San Francisco this week. So I think one key area was that he mentioned that one of the areas that they have to get better at is the connection between the coaches and players, meaning there's a lot of young babies on this roster, right? That definitely need nurturing I mean, because ultimately a lot of these guys kind of got thrown to the wolves here. I mean, not to talk about the 300 reference where, what I'm saying, you got the little boy and you just throw him out in the wilderness. And if he comes back, he ends up being one of your soldiers. Nah, we can't do that with our guys. Quite frankly, our young guys aren't good enough to do that yet. So the connection has to improve, and the solution to that is more group practices, more group meetings, more group settings. You know what I'm saying? The answer wasn't what they were doing before, which was a whole bunch of individual things and then trying to bring it that way. And I'd say that too, amongst a young team, you have to build culture. And if you're going to build a culture of a whole bunch of individual things, you're going to have 11 individuals out there, especially if they're young, 11 individuals doing 11 individual things instead of doing the group assignment. And that's why you have one guy messing up an assignment, two guys messing up an assignment, especially on offense. On offense, you got to have all 11 people on the same page. So there's a full schedule for the guys to highlight the findings and then, how to apply 'em moving forward. I think that that's pretty cool. Mike talked about moving away from external distractions, which is pretty much the thumbnail that you're looking at. We're gonna highlight Troy Aikman here, right? And so what Mike was saying is that he didn't agree with what Troy was saying. So he didn't agree with the word selection of what he was saying. So, but he feels that there's room for improvement. What that means is I gotta say this out in the open that I disagree with it, but what he said has some merit. That's what I took from what Mike McCarthy said, and I was able to go in there and prove it, just little old me from home. So he had to disagree with it. They have to cut out the outside world in order to hone in and bring everybody together and move on as a unit. Because if you think about it, even amongst the content creator universe. There's so many voices, so many chefs in the kitchen. I can personally tell you that from my coaching experience. I've done this multiple times where you have to get good at certain things. You have to bring everybody together. Sometimes you're a young team. Sometimes you don't have coaches that get along. Sometimes you don't have players that get along. But you gotta get rid of all the outside noise in order to come together for a common goal. And I think that that's what Mike McCarthy's trying to do for this team. Uh, Mike talked about getting away from external distractions. So I got a question. Does that mean you're gonna stop letting players go home during home games and have them in hotel rooms like you do on the road? Because that's another part where he wants to implement this team and continuing the trend on the road as we're doing, because he said that they tweaked some things. So my question would be, if it works there, why can't it work at home? Why can't you create an uncomfortable environment at home in order for these guys to go out there and perform like they're doing on the road? Those are some of the things that I would ask. Um, Another area that he talked about, like, yeah, we talked about group settings, but you know, team cohesion is very, very important. Ball security needs improvement. He talked about the turnover margin. And some of our stars have to stop turning the damn ball over. I'm saying that. Mike ain't say that. Dak got to stop turning the damn ball over. CD got to stop turning the ball over. We got to stop being reckless. I think he said the opportunity for turnovers is twice as high as it was last year. So some of our guys that we're depending on, you guys have to be better. That's essentially what that means. Um, he said Micah was in the building every day during a working rehab and is making progress. So I expect Micah to be back fairly soon. With the high ankle sprain, I think it was a high ankle sprain. Um, I expect Micah, you know, knowing that he's in there every day, that means that Micah really, 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 really is probably close, or Micah's just a madman. And so we need him back with the quickness. Um, Mike's not ready to make games make or break yet. So I got that from the press conference, and he is talking about a week to week outlook. I think it should have been that anyway. I think that it should always be that. I don't disagree with what he's saying. But with that being said, that your team does not have that same urgency from week to week. This team that we saw over the first 6 weeks, maybe the Pittsburgh game, you could say that team was urgent with so many guys out. But outside of that, 5 out of 6 weeks, this team has not been urgent. So part of me, if I think it's bull until your team can go out there and prove it. The things you talked about, the things you can control from week to week, we have not seen that. So until you and your team can go out there and do that, pardon me if us fans don't believe it, right? Um, Changing we already talked about that group structure, and we talked about the trends of home and away. So bottom line, I think that you were able to get so many nuggets away from what he was talking about. To me, I just think this team needs to go out there uh and change. You got to, in order to win this game this week, this team has to start fast. They have to be urgent, straight up. San Francisco has caught us starting slow so many times. They've jumped on us, and it's a team that if they jump on you, if they jump on your head, pause, no Diddy. If they jump on you, it takes an extreme amount of energy to get back into a game like that. And when you do, you have to play perfect football. Now, we just watched the Chiefs, and the Chiefs kind of stayed steady with them in the beginning, then the Chiefs just pulled away. And that's the way that you beat that team. The Arizona Cardinals stayed steady throughout the whole time and made one or two plays in order to change how that game went. That's how we have to play San Francisco. We cannot afford to fall behind to this team again, or else we're going to look at, especially if they can run the ball well and they jump on and they jump ahead with the lead. If they can run the ball well, it's going to be a tough day for us because, as you know, when they're running the ball well, they have several different ways that they can do it. So I'm expecting us to hopefully play a closer game with a lot of their guys out. But ultimately, we got to get over that hump. Doesn't matter who plays. CMC could come back. IU could come back. They can have a full healthy roster, and we gotta figure out something different from what we're doing right now. But let me know what you guys think based on some of the notes, some of my reactions, and we're gonna keep this thing going throughout the week. We're about solutions here. We're about finding the problem. We're about figuring out how this team can really get back on course. But I appreciate y'all for stopping by. We out. Peace.
Turn the pressure up. I don't quit. I don't fold under pressure. I'm the best, and I know I'm the best. And you know I'm the best.